So Denver is very much a number one seed. They are loaded. It was a great night. But I will say they led by 18 at half. That was round one of a 7-round fight. And the Nuggets won it. But it should be noted. They played basically a flawless first half. And in the end, after the Lakers adjusted, Rui, AD, made some moves on Jokic. Second half did not look quite like the first half. Now, the Nuggets, in many ways, are the opposite of the Warriors. They're huge. Their guards are big. They're big. They move. Their size everywhere. Their center, not Steph Curry, leads the offense. And they're young. They haven't been in these big games that many times. The Warriors were small. And by the way, the Grizzlies, because they were missing Brandon Clark and Steven Adams, were kind of small. So, I mean, they were pushing people around the ring. And last night, whoa. That was a wave of height and size, and they punched the Lakers right in the forehead. And it was a bit eye-opening. They out-rebounded the Lakers 36-13 in the first half, and then the Lakers adjusted. It should be noted, the Lakers shot 55% in the game. They got great looks. They shot 46% on threes, and they're not a good three-ball team. They got great looks. To me, it looked like two very big basketball teams who don't rely on the three, who are going to go 6 or 7 rounds. The Lakers' concern is Jokic. He had 15, 7, and 5 even after the adjustments. He is a machine. But he did play 42 minutes. And he usually plays in the regular season 33. So they really leaned on him. So I think what you're looking at are two really big teams. One's better offensively, Nuggets. One's better defensively, Lakers. And you're looking at right now the two best bigs maybe in the world, Jokic and AD. One is a defensive stud, AD, who's a little inconsistent with the ball. Jokic is offensively a marvel who's okay defensively. It is your classic prize fight. I can't wait. But I think the Lakers this morning, after last night, are saying, all right, we took their best punch. We adjusted. They hit a bunch of shots they won't normally hit at the buzzer. They couldn't miss. They were virtually perfect. And in the end, we lost by 6. And at one point, we had a chance to tie. And we got outplayed. And we feel pretty good. And it's the first game on the road, and it's at 5,200 feet. I mean, Denver crushed Minnesota and Phoenix in the first 2 games. Remember, the first game against Minnesota, they won by 29. First game against Phoenix, they won by 18. And the Lakers are like, yeah, we saw that in the first half. And then we adjusted. And then we came back. And we lost by 6. And we had a chance to, at one point, tie it, take a lead. I think the Lakers look at this. As LeBron said after, they feel about as good as you can feel after an awful first half, being pushed around and losing game 1. Here's LeBron after.
It took us a half to get into the game, and that was pretty much the ball game right there. We got to understand that, we got to start from the tip-off, and they punched us in the mouth to start. I know the game is won in 48 minutes, but they set the tone in 24 minutes, and we was playing catch-up for the next 24. We'll be better. We know we didn't play up to our capabilities in that first half. They were just making some shots with hands in their faces, the bodies on bodies. But we'll be better in game 2, that's for sure.
Denver's absolutely last night the better team. Denver is a completely worthy, well-coached, deep, talented number 1 seed. But I'm saying I've watched Denver roll people, and I'm looking at the Lakers, and I'm thinking, LeBron and AD are not young. They went on the road, 5,200 feet, took their first best punch, tweaked. Second half, Lakers pretty good. Got a lot of open shots. Shot the ball well. Denver's not a great defensive team. They've got length, but they're not a great defensive team. Jokic is not a great defensive player. Let's shift gears, though, to Jokic. So Anthony Davis is the best remaining big in terms defensively. He's arguably the best defensive player big in the world. And Jokic worked him. Embiid in Game 7 had 2 points in the second half against the Celtics. Jokic could not have a 2-point half. He's just too layered and too skilled. It would be impossible unless he was in foul trouble. It should be noted in 2 of the Sixers' wins, it was Harden who carried the day. I know it's a regular season award, but I said before, the vote for Embiid was as much an anti-Jokic vote as it was a pro-Embiid vote. Jokic is far more valuable to the offense. Embiid can be plodding. Go look at the Sixers' net rating when Embiid's off the floor. He takes the movement and the air out of the basketball at times. Yes, he's fun and flashy, but he's also fragile. He doesn't play as often. In the last 8 years, Jokic in 7 of those 8 has played 70-plus games. Don't we say that about quarterbacks? Availability is the best ability. Jokic plays more, is better analytically, is more skilled offensively, is more layered, is easier to play with, elevates people. Embiid doesn't necessarily elevate people. When Harden was great, he wasn't as. And again, Harden led them in 2 of their 3 wins in the playoffs against the Celtics. He passes, he facilitates. I don't care who wins MVP awards or Heismans. I really don't. I never have. If you're being intellectually honest, I've never rooted for it. I never cared about it. I couldn't tell you how many Brady won, Manning won, Mahomes has won. I just don't care. But that was an anti-Jokic vote. That's what it was. He has the number 1 seed, not Embiid. He's better analytically. He was better. He makes everybody around him better. You watched him last night. AD was helpless. AD's the best defensive center in the world. Could not stop him. Got worked by him. Jokic has become the PB&J of the NBA. Fantastic every night. Always a little underserved, underdiscussed. The PB&J works any era, any generation, any time. Jokic is old school, current school, middle school, high school, this school. That game works forever. Available, passing. It reminds me of a combination of Bill Walton, who would be great today, and Arvydas Sabonis, who would be great today. He is a fantastic player, but he's not fun, and he's not flashy, but he's also not fragile, and that is something that needs to be discussed. I get that Embiid won the award. I'm not hostile. I'm not bothered. I don't care. But I did feel it's fair to at least acknowledge that it was an anti-Jokic vote to a lot of people. Because, you start talking about a 3rd straight MVP, that's got to be one of the greatest players of all time. Isn't he? Isn't that what we're watching? You tell me the centers who can do all this. Walton passed like that. I mean, he scores like Shaq-ish in these big games. He defends okay. A lot of the great centers necessary. Was Pat Ewing always a great defender? No. I mean, I don't know. I watch him and I think to myself, if you look at his layered, nuanced, skilled game, I mean, he grabs a rebound like Shaq. He takes it right up the floor. And then he's a brilliant passer. I mean, maybe he should have won 3 straight. I think my point is, because his game isn't aesthetically as pleasing, we have a hard time saying, well, I mean, this guy didn't win 3 MVPs and that guy didn't win 3 MVPs. I don't know. I watch him. What doesn't he do well? Well, defensively, we don't hold defense against many of the great centers. We don't talk defense on this show very much. We want buckets. We never lament Jason Tatum getting beat on the baseline. We lament when he doesn't dominate offensively the 4th. Let's be fair. We've spent about 2 hours in 20 years on LeBron's defense. We talked about Kobe's offense and Michael's offense and Barkley's offense and Dirk's offense and KD's offense. Now everybody's like, well, Jokic's defense, whatever. AD couldn't stop him. Oh, by the way, AD's going to get his every other night. But here's the coach of the Nuggets on what he witnessed.
Nikola was great, 34 points, 21 rebounds, 14 assists, 2 blocks. And as you mentioned, Harrison, his aggression, him driving the ball, dunking the ball in traffic. And we always talk about an aggressive Nikola Jokic is a very effective Nikola Jokic. So, a hell of a job by him.
It's funny after the game, KCP He's repped by LeBron's people who played for the Lakers, and now he plays for the Nuggets. And one thing I always loved about KCP when he was a Laker and a Nugget, he's never afraid to take a big shot. He had a huge layup off the glass last night down the stretch. KCP is one of those guys never, ever afraid to take the big shot. And those guys matter in the playoffs. You know, guys get a little tight in the postseason. KCP, he doesn't care. He will always take a big shot. And he did last night. Lakers were cutting it back, cutting it down, and KCP came and floated her off the glass and in. And he talked about Jokic after the game.
I feel like the only difference is that, Bron can jump higher than Jokic. I think that's the only difference that I can see.
That's a really offensive. I'm joking. I mean, to be compared with one of the best ever, or the best ever, I think it's really cool. It's really cool. We affect the game in different ways, but he's a really good player.
Listen, we just have to be fair about this, is that we don't watch a lot of Denver. Denver's in that weird mountain time zone, and they're efficient, and Jokic is not flashy. He felt so out of place at the All-Star game. But folks, what you're watching here, what we're all watching with Jokic, this is all-time stuff. I mean, this guy made 2 passes last night that looked like Magic Johnson. He and Bill Walton are the best passing bigs I've ever seen in my life. And I covered Arvydas Sabonis, who was also a tremendous passer. But Jokic is just the layers and layers, jumpers, threes, twos, left hand, right hand, passing, moving the ball up the floor, outlet passing. That he is all-time stuff. And again, this isn't an anti-Embiid. He had 2 points in the second half against the Celtics. I don't think Jokic is capable of that. At least not this Jokic. Watching him last night, it's like, that's a number 1 seed, and that's a dominant all-time player you're watching. Fun series, though. I mean, just tonight, I'm going to watch the Heat and the Celtics, and they're going to be some really good players. Butler, Tatum, Brown. I'm watching that thing last night, and it is Porter and Gordon and AD and LeBron and Jokic and Jamal Murray. I'm like, man, there is a lot of talent on that floor. It's going to be a great series.